use a metaphor that they're talking about here for any of you that haven't been directly affected by what's happened recently.
And even those that have.
Oh, I know.
A lot of people, some of the people in the group, a lot of the people that follow you are in Texas and Florida.
Right.
And up through that area, through Louisiana, Georgia, South Carolina, North Carolina.
So it's the way the universe is speaking to us all, no matter where we are. It's the way that they're communicating with us to let you know what is important. And when something does happen in your own life, whether it's exactly this situation that's happened recently, like Ray said, in Texas and Florida and the Caribbean and all that, or if you just observed it and just kind of felt, uneasy about it and thought, what's this have to do with me? Well, it's just one little warning shot about changes to come. It's about the weather, the wind. Okay, hurricanes are known for its wind. And the wind of change. So we're back to back and back and back. How many are hurricanes now? 3, with one out there kind of drifting around. Okay, so it's that time of the year. It always happens. But these are really powerful, monumental winds of change that they're talking about here as a metaphor. So, and we're all affected by it. The winds of change is in all of our lives right now, in some form.
And everybody, before they came here, when they signed their contract to come here, they signed up for tragedies and setbacks.
Right. It's part of the experience of coming into this lifetime. Just think about it, you guys. You didn't come in 500 years ago when things were really crude, right? Okay, you came in now. Maybe you were there then, but you're here now. And you chose to come in this time, at this time, with us all together in this, right? And experience this the way we're all experiencing it together. It should be a time where we connect, not where we disconnect. It seems like when people disconnect, I've only known this from having businesses that were successful, the biggest disconnect always happened when things were going really well. When we were struggling, to get to that point, everybody cooperated. But when it became all about the money, then that's when the trouble started, because everybody they either wanted theirs now, or they wanted more, or they, whatever it was money, greed, it was all that. So this is about losing everything that a person had, and watching it. I mean, insurance covers only so much in some cases, but largely doesn't really work. You lose income, you lose parts of your life.
You lost your business, you lost your income for a period of time till you could rebuild.
Right, and then you have to reinvent yourself pretty much. And your neighborhood, your city, your country has been impacted. So everything changes. We're in for some changes. So that's what that
people
means.
Get anxious too. They get anxious to want to, like in this hurricane situation or a bad storm, they get anxious to get back in there and get things rebuilt as fast as they can. But a lot of people just don't have any electricity. You couldn't even run a power tool.
Well, this is a little early to even consider that. But it's limbo time. It's time where they're still, like the guide said, they're still not able to live in the moment because they're consumed by the chaos of the moment. So until they can gather themselves up and really, see where things are for them and where they can move from that, they're not going to be able to be in the moment. Now, imagine you get yourself in a chaotic situation. Something happens you didn't expect. And something like this happens, tragedy and setbacks. How do you fast forward and get out of the chaos and you just leapfrog and you go right into the moment? Not the chaos of the moment, but the moment, as the moment truly is. How do you get there quicker so you can see everything for what it is and know for yourself what you need to do right now?
It's, I'm not trying to sound insensitive, but not only did everyone sign up to come in at this particular time and experience what's going on now. But the other part of the puzzle is you are the sum of all your previous choices. I mean, if you chose to move to a state like Florida, Florida gets hit by more hurricanes than
and
any
South
of them, or Texas.
Right.
I mean, but Florida gets hit by 40% of all the hurricanes that come to this country. 40%. And that's more than double number 2, Texas. So you decided at some point in your life, maybe after you got out of school or maybe you got a job in Florida, you chose to build your home on the beach or live on the beach. Or you chose to move to build your home inland where it sustained less damage. I mean, a good example would be us. We used to live in Sedona, right? And if you don't want your house to get burned down by wildfire, you probably shouldn't live too close to all the forest.
And there's a lot of forest in Sedona.
Right. I mean, when we were there, here's a good example. When we were there, where did the brush fire, the wildfire start? Right down at the end of our street. Right?
Yeah.
And what did we do about it? We went on vacation. Hoping that everything would be there when we got back.
I mean, once you make the decision to position yourself in harm's way, whatever it happens to be, you know, there's forest fires, which they're having a lot of right now,
Yeah.
and there's living too close to the coast, or in earthquake country, whatever it is that you choose, you know before you go into it, that is the nature of the way things are. So you have to look at that now. And another thing you look at is when you're living near the water and there's the potential of you know, wind and water coming at you. That's change. The wind is the
wind is change.
The wind of change. Okay, and then there's the water, which is emotional energy. So now you move to the ocean because it felt so emotionally great, right? Okay, and it was a big change to live there and a privilege to live there. Now the downside of it isn't so, it's not so appealing. You live in the forest and there's a forest fire. So that's a cleansing. That's where everything gets wiped away. So are you really in a position to need a cleansing? All right. So it depends on what earthquakes. Earthquakes are about your foundation coming apart. The foundation of your belief systems, the foundation of the way that you built your life, the foundation of the way that you've put your financial house in order may not be so solid. So any of these places that you move to, you have to look at the symbolic meaning of what that represents. We happen to live right now, Ray and I, we live in Phoenix. And we live in one of the most, as far as actuaries go, they determine who's got the highest exposure to earth changes and natural disasters. And we live in one of the most uneventful states in the Union. Well, that's pretty boring, right? But you know what? We can keep on doing what we're doing and continue with our work and not be interrupted by it personally. And we chose that. I mean, we could have lived in California. I was raised in California. We could have done that. And Ray lived in San Diego in the 80s. So we could have done that, but we didn't do that.
I felt a lot of earthquakes.
I know. I did too. And I live more north. But you have to look at the situation and see why you positioned yourself like that. I mean, symbolically. I mean, underneath the surface of what doesn't seem so obvious. You moved there for a job. Well, did you? I mean, there's more going on than just the superficial stuff is what this is all about. So,
it's interesting that what you experience are consequences of your choices you may have made decades ago.
most of them are.
Right. I mean, you could be.
I want to say this. This is a good time to bring this up. The journal that you get off my website, lindadeir.com, My Guided Journey, is what this is all about. It walks you back through your life so you can see the truth in the decisions that you made from someone who was ill-equipped at the time. I'm talking about when you were really small. and you made these decisions because you were pressured to do it. And you go back to the early part of your lives as you walk back through these, all right? And on my website for blogs, you go up to the top and click on blog. And over to the right, when you get on the blog page, is categories. And go down to my guided journey. And we've done videos on each one of the pages of chapter 2. And we've done 1 through 11. We're on 12 on Thursday, right, Ray?
That's right.
There's 18. There's 18 of them in the journal. The reason we're doing those videos and putting them in there as added support for you guys is we've gotten feedback from all of you about where you're getting hung up. And we started doing these videos so you get the journal, you read it, you read part 1, then you move into part 2, which is where you do the journey part of the journal. And you watch these videos to really reinforce what it is that you need to work on as the guides see it, okay? And how you need to start moving in that and move through it. Just start, listen to those videos so it gives you a little boost in starting to write. In the first one is fear. The second page is ask. The third page is friends, all right? And it moves through it. And you'll start to remember some people, just so you know, have started where we are right now and have gone backward. So as they move backward, they can start to remember those early memories that were so hard to unearth. So they kind of worked against it. They kind of went the other way. Whatever works for you, okay? So the videos are there to help you achieve it. Because until you do part 2, when you start journaling in part 3, you don't want to be journaling from an emotional point of view. You want to be journaling from what you feel and what you know, not from being a victim of what happened back there. Okay? So when you work, I want to say this one other thing.
Go ahead.
When you work with my guided journey and you work with this, first of all, I know that you guys have read Guided. This is my flagship book. And that's what generated my guided journey, the companion journal to Guided, all right? And once you start working through this, you get to the part 3, when you start journaling your life every day about what's going on so that you keep tuned in to how it's all tying together. Until you do part 2, will you be able to tell what happened the way it happened, not the way you made it up? Because that little kid that in part 2 that made those snap decisions ill-equipped because pressure was put on you continues to make those same faulty decisions and act out those same victim roles. So when you start journaling in part 3, it's not coming from clarity. It's not coming from feeling it. It's coming from emotional energy, which is not true. The emotional energy is a reaction to what happened. It's not what happened. Okay?
This is exactly what we've been talking about. With the journal, you use the word restore. The journal helps you restore your life.
Right.
The people who have suffered with the hurricane are restoring their life.
Right.
They're restoring their life. They're restoring their homes.
Once they stop reeling from it.
Right. Right.
Reeling from it.
It's emotional.
I know.
It's very emotional.
They're caught up in emotions. So as long as that's what's going on, you're not coming from a clear point of view. That's what Ray's referring to.
Mm-hmm. Okay. So I think that this is very apropos that we're talking about the journal, and this week's theme is tragedy and setbacks. Because the tragedy and setbacks in your life didn't happen until you started growing older as a child.
As a repercussion of those early decisions you made from being pressured to make them while you were ill-equipped.
Right. Ill-equipped to make a decision.
No wonder every decision you've made since then has been nothing but a snowball effect that just keeps pushing you down the road, and you're going, I can't seem to get it right. For some reason, I just do that every time. I keep picking the wrong people every single time. It's because it started way back there, okay, when you were little. And that's where you've got to go back there. And we're doing these, they're about 1 hour videos for each page. We're putting a lot of energy in this so you guys can really benefit from this and recover from it. Again, it has to do with restoring your life. Guided changes your life. And my guided journey restores your life. It brings you back.
Yeah,
Okay.
it's rebuilding your life, just like rebuilding your house. It's going
Right.
back.
Right.
And
it was a tragedy. It was a tragedy and a setback from the beginning of your life. You just didn't realize it.
And another way they're alike is if you had to rebuild your house and you're going back to the bare bones, to the structure, you're going to realize things. Well, I didn't remember doing this here. I didn't remember building it like that. Same way when you start to go back and rebuild your life and you go through the journal. Oh, I remember that. I had forgotten that. I had
Right.
forgotten that I did that.
Right. That I came to that conclusion. That's the decision I made. That's how I got angry so early in my life, and I haven't been able to shake it. You know, what is that keeps driving me? Or I keep picking these loser people in my life. Why do I keep doing that? You know, you made the decision way back there when you were little and when you were small, and as you grew up and you began to evolve with this and you became difficult. I mean, I get it, you guys. I really do get it. So that's why I wrote it, because I know where it started. I know where the problem began. And the way we recover from it and restore our lives is we start working. We only have to work through it one time. Bam, you got it. And you start working with part 3. Now you can see things for what they are. You don't take them personally anymore. You are seeing things clearly. You're not a victim, and you are feeling it and knowing it. You're not emotionally drawn into it and playing into the drama and just losing yourself every single time, being drawn back into the same cycle of karmic madness. All right?
Karmic madness. I love that.
Yeah.
You know, this is just like whether your house came crashing down around you, okay, or your life feels like it's crashed down around you. It's the same feeling. It's the same, what the guide said. First, sooner or later, it causes stress.
Yeah.
And then it causes, you feel a sense of loss or loneliness.
You do.
Or alone.
It's exactly the same feelings you feel as you're walking back through part 2 of the journey. Okay, part 2 is the journey, and part 3 is the journal. All right, until you take the journey back and rewind your life and see what happened there, can you make better decisions? Can you discover who it is you really are, and reclaim that part of yourself? All right, and recover from it. Can you begin to journal part 3 with clarity, intelligence from a higher place?
And what happens to the people who go through this stress of losing something and they feel helpless, and the guide said, well, then they get numb and they can't move. And that's when they start making the same decisions over and over. They
Right.
can't make a new decision.
Right.
They can't change their life by changing their thoughts.
Right.
And what happens is if you keep making the same decisions over and over again, just like people who go back and rebuild on a floodplain, or go back and build their house right back in the middle of the forest.
Right where their lives were destroyed.
Right. They have another tough lesson coming. Or if you keep choosing the same people, the wrong kind of people in your life.
What's the definition of insanity?
Yeah, making the same decisions over and over, expecting different results.
And that's, who said that? Einstein.
I just said that.
I think Einstein said that.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I think I got it from him.
Yeah, it wasn't your coined phrase, Ray. Anyway, that's what it is, and that's why it's insane to do that. It's easy to fix once you decide to step into it and finally identify what it is and then see it for what it is, maybe for the first time in your life, and then recover from it. All right?